UIC. Freedom the people of need. Hell yeah. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Ready for broke every chain. That when you free up the people, levitate.
Hello, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope you can hear me clearly today and we're not having any mic problems. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. I am doing fine, thank you, Mr. Lion Rule. Or I don't even know if it's Mr. Lion Rule. Are you a Mr. or a Mrs., male or female? Let me know. You're always on, and I so appreciate you. You're very supportive and very positive. So good to see you on. Much appreciated. Good afternoon, JMH. Good to see you on as well. Today we're going to talk about labor. Remember back in the days, there used to be an advertisement in one of the campaigns. There's a Spanish Town Secondary built by labor, Waterford Secondary built by labor, and all that kind of stuff, eh? And we have a party that calls themselves Labor Right. So today we're going to talk about labor. We're going to talk about labor today, particularly Labor Day. Wonderful Lion Rule, Mr. Lion Rule. Where are you from? Which parish or which part of the geography on the planet you are on? Thank you, Bilda. Glad to know you can hear me loud and clear. Bless up to you as well. Purpose-driven vibes. Tony, good to see you on as well. Tony Valentine, thank you very much. Good evening, JJ. Good to see you on as well. Wilson, how are we going to win the election? With your help, sir. With your help. If all of us pitch in, we can certainly win the election. Just imagine, if all of us as Jamaicans come together and make a decision that we've had enough of the colonial rule. We don't want no more colonial party and their colonial systems over us, and so we decide to take back our country. We can do it, I can't do it, but we can do it if we come together. So today we're going to talk about Labor Day. What is Labor Day? Where does this thing come from? What we call Labor Day. What is the purpose of Labor Day? Why do we take this time off every year to go and do some work in our community, some volunteer work, some free labor work? Why do we do that once a year in particular, to do some free labor work and call it Labor Day? What is the purpose of that? We're going to answer that question. I have a twist to it, which I want you to appreciate. You must always ask questions, about all the things that we do, whether it's why do we do Christmas? Why do we do Mother's Day? Why do Jamaica now start to do Halloween? We never used to do that before, but now we have Halloween. Why do we do that? Why do we adopt all of these holidays and put them into our legislation and mandate them by government? What is the reason for this? We should question these things. Okay, if we don't question them, we'll just follow something and don't realize what is the impact of it. Christopher Bird, no, I have not quit. I'm right here. I'm president of the UIC. Same way. The UIC had its annual members congress on the 27th of March, where I was re-elected as president of the UIC, and I am proud and honored to serve all of you as president of this great movement, which I have the privilege of being the founder and continue to enjoy the support of the vast majority. But thank you for asking. Bless up to all uniters. Cool guy, good to see you on as well. Cool guy, are you male or female? Just wondering. I'm assuming you're a male based on the guy part, but today you can't know for sure because some people are trying to get us, to not be clear on what it means to be male or female. We have to watch out for them. So let's begin this topic for today. What is Labor Day? What is Labor Day? Yeah. Christopher Bird says, I love what you're doing because Jamaica need better governance. Thank you so much, Christopher. And definitely, we have suffered for too long with bad governance. 78 years of it under our own kind. And prior to that, some 300 years of slavery. And now the time has come for us to put an end to all of that. Yeah. Cool guy says straight male. Good respect for that. And big up to all the straight males and straight females. As far as I'm concerned, it's a personal choice, but we don't want anybody to force it on us. You understand? We must not have any force or fraud going on. Cool guy, you're genuine and loyal. Uniter says purpose-driven vibes. And Craig McKenzie, Craig says, do you know Jamaica is one of the gems of the world? Absolutely. Jamaica is a great place with some lovely people and some beautiful God-given assets. And now it's time for us to realize our full potential. Why are we languishing economically? Why are we languishing educationally? Why are we languishing in terms of our healthcare? Why are we languishing in terms of our infrastructure? The time has come for us to join hands together and put an end to the languishing. Good afternoon, Mr. Patterson. I am in London. I love your style. We need you more now than ever. Thank you, Joan Williams Roberts. Appreciate it. Heard there's some document being signed by different countries from the WHO, says Builder. Yes, I've been warning us about this, for years and years and years now. Before the COVID issue, I've been warning us that the goal of the global elites is to completely subjugate all of mankind and take away our rights and freedom. They do not want anybody to have any freedom except themselves. They want to make sure the rest of us become little minions, little dependent babies. They want to be our masters again, like they had in slavery. Just different, they don't want the same kind of slavery where they tie you up in chains, physical chains, and whip you with a physical whip. The chains now are legislative. They are legal chains. They are governance chains and things. Hold on a second. I'm hearing something here outside. 1 second.
The International Labor Day movement came out of the struggle to free workers from extreme conditions of repression, exploitation, and racism which generally existed in the late 19th century.
Come and chat with Tanya.
Like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Since 1890, May 1 has been reserved by many countries as the day to officially honor the labor movement. However, some countries chose different days in May to celebrate it. In Jamaica, Labor Day is celebrated on May 23rd of each year. In 1961, a bill in Parliament abolished the public holiday Empire Day. Empire Day was the birthday of Queen Victoria of England, the monarch attributed with abolishing slavery. Her birthday was a public holiday celebrated May 24th. The new bill in Parliament, however, designated May 23rd as Labor Day, the day which marks the anniversary of the work in Jamaica in 1938. By 1938, Jamaica was ripe for unrest. Laborers were grossly underpaid and several strikes broke out across the island, with workers all asking for the same thing, better wages. The most outstanding of these unrest was the riot at Frome Sugar Factory, which occurred in May of that 1938. One prominent figure that arose from the 1938 upheavals was St. William Grant. He was a labor leader, black nationalist and Garveyite. Grant spoke loudly for the rights of workers and was even arrested in 1938 for his firm stance. However, he sank from the pages on history into obscurity and poverty. His contributions have not been forgotten, though, and the Victoria Parking Parade in the center of Kingston was renamed in memory of St. William Grant in 1977. In 1974, he was awarded the Order of Distinction posthumously. It was from these labor upheavals that trade unions were formed to champion the cause of Jamaican workers. From 1961 until 1971, Labor Day was mainly celebrated by the trade unions in collaboration with the political parties to which they were affiliated. These celebrations took the form of public rallies, meetings, and marches, which were held primarily in the corporate area. There were occasions when the marches of the opposing major trade unions and the political parties clashed, contrary to the original concept that Labor Day should be a demonstration of unity of the workers of Jamaica. There was one dimension to the celebration, instituted by the Most Honorable Hugh Shearer when he became Prime Minister in 1967. This was in the form of a Labor Day reception at Jamaica House. This is a tradition which still stands today. Hugh Shearer began his political career as a trade unionist. He took part with Bustamante and other union officers in negotiations with employers in some of the most important labor disputes. In 1953, he was appointed island supervisor of the union. In 1977, he became the president of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union and in the ensuing years built the union into the largest in the English-speaking Caribbean. Information was provided by the National Library of Jamaica. Origins of Modern Labor Day. Remember to like, share, and
Okay, hope you learned a lot from that video. It told you how Labor Day originated, generally speaking, and how we in Jamaica now, observe Labor Day. But I want you to watch another video. This is going to tell you about the international origin of Labor Day, and it's going to show you that the way we celebrate Labor Day today might not be what we should really be doing. Should we be going out on Labor Day and giving free labor, or should we be doing something else with our time on Labor Day? So I want to show you something, another version of Labor Day, but this time the real backstory, the full history. You have seen the nice part, the nice idea that has been brought forward in Jamaica, and how they have guided us to see Labor Day as a day when we pretty much go and give free labor to others. So watch this one now and see what you learn from this, and we'll pick it up from there. Just a second. Watch carefully. Let me see if I can get that for us. 1 minute. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So take a watch. Take a watch of this and see, and let me know what your thoughts were after. Which one of these you think is most accurate in terms of representing the true meaning of Labor Day. Let's take a watch.
How's this for a strange idea? a day off from work in honor of work itself. Actually, that is what Labor Day, celebrated in the United States and Canada on the first Monday of every September, is all about. The first American Labor Day was celebrated in New York City on September 5, 1882, as thousands of workers and their families came to Union Square for a day in the park. It was not a national holiday, but had been organized by a union to honor workers and their hard efforts with a rare day of rest, halfway between July 4th and Thanksgiving. There were picnics and a parade, but there were also protests. The workers had gathered not just to rest and celebrate, but to demand fair wages, the end of child labor, and the right to organize into unions. During the period known as the Industrial Revolution, many jobs were difficult, dirty, and dangerous. People worked for 12 hours, 6 days a week, without fringe benefits such as vacations, health care, and pensions. And if you were young, chances are you were doing manual labor instead of your ABCs and fractions. Children as young as 10 worked in some of the most hazardous places like coal mines or factories filled with boiling vats or dangerous machines. Trying to win better pay, shorter hours, and safer conditions, workers had begun to form labor unions in America and Canada. But the companies they worked for often fought hard to keep unions out and to suppress strikes. At times, this led to violent battles between workers and business owners, with the owners often backed up by the police or even the military. In the following years, the idea of Labor Day caught on in America, with official celebrations reaching 30 states. But then came the violent Haymarket Square riot of 1886, which led to the deaths of several policemen and workers in Chicago and the execution of 4 union leaders. After that, many labor and political groups around the world had begun Square on May 1st, which became known as International Workers' Day. In 1894, President Grover Cleveland signed the law making Labor Day a federal holiday in America, only days after he had sent 12,000 soldiers to end a violent railroad strike that resulted in the death of several people. The original September date was kept, partly to avoid the more radical associations of May 1st. Canada also created its Labor Day in 1894. But in spite of this new holiday, it would be a long time before the changes that workers wanted became a reality. In 1938, during the Great Depression that left millions without jobs, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed a law calling for an 8-hour workday, a 5-day work week, and an end to child labor, some of the first federal protections for American workers. As America and Canada celebrate Labor Day, most of the two countries' children enjoy a day off from school. But it is important to remember that there was a time that every day was a Labor Day for children in America and Canada. And unfortunately, the same fact remains true for millions of children around the world today.
Okay, so there you have it. You should be much more aware now about Labor Day than you were a few minutes ago. So what we call Labor Day in Jamaica is really free labor to the government. We're doing the work that the government should normally do, maybe. For example, some people are painting sidewalks, trying to fix and patch potholes, fixing up schools that were left derelict by government who claim they're in charge of our education system. So basically what they have done is to direct us away from the real foundation of Labor Day, which is to focus on your labor rights, making sure that you're properly organized to defend of workers, making sure that you are defending your right to strike, Recently, the Prime Minister used the army and threats to suppress workers who were striking. Can you imagine that? And then he's going to do a Labor Day message and tell us all to come out and give free labor while the government consistently fails to do the work it is supposed to do. Our roads are in disrepair all over the place for years upon years upon years. No sidewalks in some communities, no street lights in some communities. Many of our schools are dilapidated and missing the kind of equipment and things that they need. Community centers are non-existent in many communities. If you have a physical building called a community center, it's worse than a outdated factory that's sitting idle. This is the kind of thing that we have. They use laws and holidays and all kind of pronouncement to deceive the people, to distract the people, while they consistently trick us into doing the opposite of what we should really be doing. Now, Labor Day would be a nice day off, wouldn't it? Like it is in Canada and the US. You take some time off to actually think about what's going on in your society and organize how you're going to respond to the negatives where you have an imbalance between big companies and labor. You want to always strike a good balance. So it's very important for labor to organize and to be able to properly defend their rights, as opposed to gradually ceding those rights to government to work on their behalf. I believe completely in the separation of labor unions from government, because what you have is when labor unions are attached to political parties and to government, they may not represent the rights of the workers fully, like you're seeing in some labor unions and labor leaders. They are so connected with the political parties that they can't be just and fair and equitable and truly representational of the rights of the workers that they should represent. And so they undermine the rights of workers while claiming to be a labor union. And the government undermine the rights of workers by misleading workers, being deceptive, and even using legislation, the army, the police, and threats to oppress the workers. And so I am for a true Labor Day, which is a day off from labor, a day off from the hard work. You're working hard already. You should not have to now work hard, pay taxes, and then go and do the work the government is supposed to do. They love it, you know. They love to fool us up. Tell us about come out and do a patriotic deed when they already take your money. They already take our money that they're supposed to use to fix up the place, but now they want us to give free labor to fix up the place on their behalf. Yeah, we must give up our time to go do what they were supposed to do while they get the freedom to steal and eat our money, grand good time at our expense. So we need to stop it. Reed Prince says, good evening, sir. I am 55 years old and I never voted before, but when I listened to you for some strange reasons, you convinced me that I would vote for you. So if I should vote for you, what difference will be what the difference will be from the rest of them to make over our life better. Okay. In all of my videos, in all of my lives, I speak about the things that I will do different from the others. The most important thing, though, I think, is that the UIC is built on protecting your individual rights. That's so critical, so crucial. Everything about the UIC is about protecting you as an individual. Notice we don't talk in lofty terms about the whole of society, because we believe there's no greater society than the one that takes care of every individual. And so we want to protect the rights of the individual citizen, the man and woman at the bottom of the pile, the minority, the person who's marginalized. We want to make sure that his or her rights are fully protected so that they have an environment that is empowering. Yeah, an environment that empowers them to achieve their full potential. And that begins with safety. That begins with cleanliness. That begins with public order. If you have a safe, clean, and orderly society, you're going to have an enabling and empowering environment. There's no way that you can be empowered in a society where you're scared, you're afraid. You're afraid that somebody's going to break into your house. You have to put on burglar bars. You have to live behind bars. You're afraid to stay out late at night, so you can't organize your life to be the way you want to be and produce the way you want to produce because you're afraid to have your store open at nights and so on. You cannot grow in fear. And so good government is when you can plan, organize, invest, produce, and trade in a safe space. If you don't have that, you don't have good government. And Jamaica has never had good government because every year it becomes more and more unsafe. Then the place is dirty, a very dirty country. So again, you see, you don't have good government because the place is dirty. It's very dirty, very filthy. They can't pick up garbage properly. They can't process garbage properly. And so if you have a government that can't keep you safe, can't clean up the place, then you don't have a government. What you have is somebody that's occupying a job that they can't manage, but they're getting paid for it. And not only are they getting paid for it, they're in a position of authority which allows them to strategically steal from you, to systematically steal from you, legally steal from you. So again, three things: safe, clean, orderly. Jamaica is not safe, it's not clean. Number three, is Jamaica orderly? No, pure disorder. Look at the situation on our roads. We have a lot of drivers who don't have, well, they have a driver's license, but they're not properly trained and equipped to drive properly on the road. Them dunce. Some of them can't even read. They don't know what the road sign is. They don't understand what defensive driving is. So they can't drive properly, but they have a license. Why? Because government failed again. The government failed to put in place an effective licensing program that would ensure that only people who can drive properly get licensed. Instead, they have a very corrupt system where anybody that can pay for it gets a license, whether they can drive or not, whether they can read or not, whether they're competent or not. That is bad governance. That's disorder. Similarly, the government cannot manage road design and road maintenance, road repair. They can't manage that. So here you have it, because they can't manage road repair and road design, road maintenance, they can't manage that. Then you have bad roads that creates mayhem and creates accidents and cause deaths and pushes up the cost of government healthcare, because when you have people, so lots of costs. You have the drivers of the vehicle, they already pay tax, they already pay insurance, they already bought this expensive piece of thing called a vehicle, and now because of government, they're paying excessive maintenance fees because the government can't design proper roads and maintain proper roads. So again, the government, and then of course, because the government can't properly license people, your life is always in danger on the road because of a bad driver, a driver who doesn't know how to drive. Not just a bad driver. He is bad because he is innately incompetent as a driver. So here you have the basic role of government, basic role, to provide a safe environment, a clean environment, an orderly environment, and guess what? On all three levels, for 78 long years, our governments have failed. The same two parties in power, the same two, for 78 years, have not figured out how to create a safe Jamaica, how to produce a clean Jamaica, or how to ensure an orderly Jamaica. So that because of that, we're very inefficient, very unproductive, and therefore we have a bad economy, lacking the opportunities that our young people need to gain meaningful jobs and meaningful experience at an early age to be able to mature into highly productive, highly efficient, highly effective citizens of this country. And so year over year over year, we're compounding this failure to the point where our social fabric degrades into a country that everybody wants to run away from for the most part. And so some people sit overseas and criticize like hell, but do nothing to help. They sit in the foreign lands and they criticize, but do nothing to help. Here's what you can do if you're overseas. You can join the UIC, you can volunteer in the UIC, and you can donate to the UIC so that you can help to elect representatives of the UIC to fix your country. That's what you can do. And so we're talking about Labor Day. Yeah. I want us to realize that Labor Day is a trick, the way it is structured in our country. It is a trick to extract your labor to do the things that government should do. Of course, nothing is wrong with you volunteering and helping to do things that you want to do in your community. That is fine. But don't be tricked. I want you to see that Labor Day was a day for protecting the rights of laborers, protecting the rights of the worker. It was a day to take a day off from all the cares and burdens of work to actually have a chance to think. You know that many Jamaicans don't even bother to think and get involved in the intellectual side of politics because they're too tired. They might work so hard to make ends meet, them now have no time for politics. And that's exactly what these two parties want, because that's the system of their colonial masters, to work the people so hard by governance models that make it hard for them to earn enough to have a decent life. So they have to work so hard and be under so much pressure that they have no time to think, no time to reason, no time to ask the right questions, no time to fight for their rights. Now here comes the UIC. They all know and expect that the UIC is going to fail. Why it's going to fail in their minds? Because they know that the rich elites will not give the UIC any money to trick you. The rich elites who control the PSOJ, I call them the PSOJ oligarchs, they have the billions of dollars that they will give the two parties to come and trick you, trick up everybody. They will lead a campaign that will encourage those who are disgusted by politics to stay home. So they will try to undermine the UIC so that you stay home. They said, boy, none of them are better. We're done with them. We're done with politics. None of them are better. So you'll just stay away. That's the 63%. The 37% now, they're like, yeah, man, we can deal with that. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper that way if we do that, right? And so once they've done that, I want to show you something. I'm getting a call, so I'm going to switch now. I'm going to show you a video. Okay, hold on a second, 1 second. Hi, Richard, just a second, 1 second. I'm going to put on this video now, and then you can watch. What is it? Let's see here, 1 second, 1 second. Where is this? I want to show you what, I want to show you my Labor Day project. Let's see if I can show you that, eh? And then I'm going to come back to this matter here that I want you to pay attention to. So let's see if you can see that. Yeah, can you see that? All right, whoops, here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. This is it, my friends. We're gonna get this thing sorted out tomorrow. So it appears as if you weren't hearing anything. Is that the case? You weren't hearing anything? 1 second here. It appears as though you were not able to hear it. Is that the case? You weren't able to hear anything. Can you hear me now? Wow. Can you hear me? So now you can hear me. Okay. I'm not sure what. So you could see the video, but you couldn't hear anything. Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, the video that I was showing you was a little Labor Day project that I'm doing in a community up here in Elam. So there's a gentleman who has been a homeless person, and he has this little box that you see there. That's what I used to live in when I was a boy. A small area like that you saw in the picture, and he now needs us. Well, we're gonna fix for him a little house, yeah. And so I got some material and stuff. The material cost was about 108,000. Let me see here, 108,000 Jamaican dollars. 108,000. Let me see if I can find it here, just to give you the exact amount of the thing here. Whoops. All right. Where is that? Photo. There we go. Oops, that's right. Oh yeah. So it's 106,000. So what I needed for this project was in addition to the cement and blocks and stuff that we had already and some zinc, I needed 12 2x4x16 lumber, 16 1x3, 5, what is this now? 7 piece of plywood, some zinc nail, some wire nail, and some concrete nail. And would you believe that is 106,808 in terms of US dollars? 106,808 using the selling rate, no, the buying rate of the bank. We're looking at about 736 US dollars. So that's what I'm donating to this project to help this fellow to have a small shelter about the size in which I grew up as a boy. So we're doing that. Now, if any of you would like to donate to help with this project, please go on our site, our website, uicjamaica.com, and you can just say donate Labor Day project and donate any amount you can to help us to make this small one-room house for this man who has nowhere to live. So he has been bouncing around the place, sleeping in some very unusual areas and some really bad spots. And so it came to my attention, and tomorrow now we're going to go there. I'll show you. I'll send you some more videos. I'll send you this video separately because it didn't work on this, but I'll send it separately in our shared space so you can see it and hear the conversation that I was having on that. But let's get back to the main subject. The main subject I wanted. Somebody said, Silver Cat says, Mr. Patterson, I hear you talk about building, but I believe crime plays a big part of the building. What do you mean by that, Silver Cat? Explain that for me. When you say crime plays a major part in that building, I'm not too sure how to respond to that. Think about it, says, we need to take Labor Day and establish a farm garden to sustain our family by providing food. Think about it, that we can do normally throughout the course of the year, in any day and any number of days. The point I want to make about Labor Day is that the real purpose of Labor Day is for us to pay attention to what caused it. why did we end up with a day that we call Labor Day? It was because of the unfair treatment of workers. And the workers rose up and fought back and sought to have laws and legislations in place that would protect their rights as citizens, as workers. And because they fought for these rights, they became a day that they, the laborers, they, the workers, end up creating as a time when they would remember the struggles that they have gone through. Hi, Mr. Smalling. Good afternoon. Can you do me a big favor? The gentleman who are the driver who is delivering all of the lumber and the stuff that we bought they're there, but I can't follow them now to go to the spot. Could you just run over there for me and make sure they deliver to? Yes. So go ahead and do that right now before they miss you. Yeah, man, go ahead. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right then. Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, so what we have is the truck was trying to deliver while I'm on the live. Where to go. But I'm not here to give them. They should have called me earlier, then I would have meet them in the crossroad and drive around to the spot where we're going to build this one-room house for the homeless fellow. But I can't. Now, Mr. Smalling, who is a citizen here in my community, he is also helping me with this project. So tomorrow you'll meet him when we go and do the live while we're finish the construction for this one-room house for this gentleman. So that's what he was calling about. But back to the main point. Yes, Silvercat. He says, I respect what you are doing for that person, but me and others want to get away from zinc roofing. Silvercat, of course we want to get away from, but you can't get away from what you can't get away from. The person in question don't have nothing. Him have zero, zilch. Right now he's sleeping in less than a zinc roof. He's sleeping outside in the cold. He's sleeping in little cave. He's sleeping in people's backyard. It's horrible. It's horrible the way he is living at the moment. And so what we have to do is we have to help him. Yeah, we have to provide. We don't have to help him, but we're choosing to help him out of many. Yeah, so out of many, we're choosing to help him. That is the plot of land that the little space there that we're building for him. I'm showing it now on the screen. I don't know if I can play it, and maybe this time you can hear it. Can you hear anything? Can you hear it this time? I'm right here. What name again? It's Kanai. Yeah, Kanai Hall. So, tell me if you can hear it this time. Can you hear the video? I didn't room to live in. We have a room right now. So I just went by the hardware store. We got about $100,000 worth of material. We can get another 100,000, that would be good. But we got 100,000. Okay, so you can hear. Plywood. Yeah. So you can hear the video that I'm playing. That's the one I'm talking about. Okay, so you can hear it. Good. 7 sheets of ply, some zinc nail, some what do they call it? Some concrete nail. Yeah, some wire nail. So we got all of that a while ago. When I deliver it short, so when they come back with the delivery, I will show you again. But this is a one-room structure. Yeah. How long now do you have a place to live? Almost about a year now, you know. A year now. It's a long time. So I'm trying to help them out. I think we can get this thing. You catch the whole night, right? Yeah. Show all of your stuff. So the people can see what we're working on. Mm-hmm. So all of this we're going to get sorted out. So we're going to put the door on this side. Yeah. And 2 windows. Yeah. And in the back end, some rooms. That's the zinc over here, so. Yeah. I'll show them the zinc. Over here, so I have something. And we have some wood here already, some lumber. Right here already. So in a short while now, in about maybe 2 hours, the truck is going to come. So them come, you receive it from me here. Yes. What's the name again? Clancy. So Clancy will receive it because Ken here right now. And you're going to secure it for me so that nothing happened to it. Yeah. And then we'll come on Monday and finish up the work. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much. Respect. Yeah. Okay, good. this is it, my friends. We're gonna get this thing sorted out tomorrow, Labor Day. All right. And your name again, Mr. Son? Clanson. Mr. Clanson. So that's Mr. Clanson, the brother, right? Yeah. All right. Respect. All right. So there you saw it again, and this time you were able to hear. So I'm glad you could. So the point I was making, and by the way, this fellow, he's in a bad way, like really bad way. So what I did, can I tell you something? What I did? I didn't give him the material for free. I didn't give him all of that material for free. The $106,808. I told him that I am going to help him to finish this little one-room home. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pay the money up front so that he can get the room finished now. And one second. Hello, sorry about that. Hi, Charlie. Can I call you right back? I'm on the line. Is it urgent? I'm on the live at the moment. Okay, all right, good. Yeah, bye. All right. Sorry about that, guys. When your wife is calling, you have to take the call. You don't want to say no. So I had to make sure. So she know I'm good. So the gentleman here, I said to him, I will help you to fix this house. I'm going to help you to get this one room going. And I know someone was asking earlier on about the zinc part. We want to get away from the zinc. Yes, we want to get away from the zinc, but this is all we can afford for the moment. We have to get him out of the hazardous situation he's in and into something that is workable. He will probably never be able to afford anything more than this. And there are many more like him. He's just fortunate enough that I am available and able and willing to help. There are many Jamaicans in the same position as this man, okay? He's a hardworking man, I am told by references from other persons in the community. He was recently working at a little factory that was being built, and the factory finished now, so no more work no did it. So it's not go on for him, as the saying goes. Yeah. So what I said to him, I will pay for this and get this built right now, $106,800, and finish it up tomorrow. Everything done, Zen can move in and be able to get out of the bad situation he's in. And I said to him, but I'm not giving you this for free. I'm going to give you work to do. I have a farm and I have some work on there to be done. I have an area to be cleared. I have some fence postings to mend and some stuff like that. Can you do that kind of work? Yes, Mr. Patterson. Yes, man, we can do that, definitely. I said, good. Can you use a waka? Yes. You can use machete? Yes. I'm saying, but how many does a machete and a file and stuff? So I'm going to give him work. So he's going to work off this 106,808. And I tell him, I'm not your typical politician. I'm not into the handout thing. I'm into the hand up thing. I'm into the empowerment thing. And so I do not, and I encourage all of our candidates not to just give things for free. It's not very healthy. It's very unhealthy. It destroys the mind. Let us give people a job. Let them earn the money. Even if you're going to give something, if you can, wherever possible. Sometimes, of course, you just have to give it. There's no other, it's just simple. But if you can, please structure it so that they do some work, if not for you, for somebody else. For example, there's another lady down the road that I'm going to work on her place. She has a board house, and it's literally about to fall down. Not too bad yet, but very bad. So what we're going to do is, again, get some people to fix it, who have the ability but don't have any work, and we'll kind of try to match it out. We get together with the community, like we're doing now, get some people to donate their labor, get some people to cook some food. We try to put together as much material as we can afford, and they get the hardware store to get a discount where possible, and then we get together and we fix up her house over there. up in Elam. So these are the things we do. Now, one of the things we don't do enough of is come and publicize it, because politics is about communication and about publicizing everything. It's not my way. I'm not particularly keen on it, but I know people want to see and hear and know, so we'll try to do, be better at communicating these things to you. Left to me alone, we're just gonna fix the stuff with the guy and it's done, and we'll move on around the back there. But I'm going to try to share more of these things with you so you can see them in action. All right. So let me see if I'm missing any comments here. Somebody says, plenty blessings. Yes. Yes, I get what you're saying about you helping, but that will be a start by the UIC to build something sufficient. Yes. I'm sure he will feel secure in his home. Absolutely. Good afternoon, Mr. Patterson and United. Just got on. We'll watch replay to catch up. No problem, Miss Blake. Good to see you on. Scarlett says, I appreciate your effort on that, sir. You are doing that man justice. Scotty says, the president, peace and blessings to you, sir. Peace to you as well, Scotty. Thanks for being on. Lion Rule, my faithful friend, I don't even know who it is, but a very faithful person who's always here and supporting the UIC and supporting what I'm doing. This is the heart of a real leader, he says. Tracy Blake, excellent. Genevieve says that true, many people like him need some help too. One more man. Don't give a fish, teach how to fish. Plenty of old unsafe house still around Jamaica. That's true, JJ. And can you imagine if we, fix up some and at least allow persons who are homeless or near homeless to have something to, use for now. So I wanted to remind you about my message today. I wanted to remind you that the Labor Day is not intended to be a day of free labor to do the things that the government should have done, for example. It is really coming out of the labor struggles where people fought for their rights. They fought for fair wages. They fought for good working conditions, and they fought for not having dangerous child labor. And let me just comment on child labor for a bit. I don't think child labor laws that stop children from being involved in work that is suitable to their age and that is safe for children to perform. I believe it's very important that we teach our children to work as early as possible, and that we teach them the principle of earning as early as possible without sacrificing their health and without sacrificing their education. But it's very important that we don't fall for just generic statements about child labor and end up creating a world where our children are lazy and idle and disconnected from the reality of what it means to be a productive citizen. We need to create a proper balance. So legislation must be written carefully to protect the rights of children without denying them the kind of development that they need to be well-rounded, highly productive, well-adjusted citizens. So you'll always see me being very careful about bandwagons, I won't jump on in the bandwagon and just say equal pay for equal work. No. Yes, equal pay for equal work, but make sure that you're not legislating what you think is equal pay for equal work. That's a decision for the market. Because let's talk about that for briefly, just so that you understand where I'm coming from. Suppose you have a job and you say, by government force, you say this job must pay $1,000 an hour. This job must pay $1,000, no matter who you hire, it must pay $1,000 an hour. Now, suppose the job is a job that From an employer standpoint, you realize that the job normally requires more physical stamina. You don't want somebody who is going to call in and say that you have to stay home because they have menstrual cycle, or because they are, they might have an intervening pregnancy and have to be off for whatever period of time for that. So what will you do if, no matter what, you must pay $1,000 for this, an hour for this job? Then as an employer, you will only hire males. You'll always only hire males. You'll never. So what you're going to do now, because of the government law that mandates you to hire for $1,000 no matter what, because it's equal pay for equal work, what's going to happen is you'll just simply not hire females. Why would you not hire females? Because as an employer, as a businessman, you're going to make the best decision for your economic outcome. And don't tell me that you're nice and holy and will do something different. That may be you, but in terms of the reality of society, all that's going to happen is that law is going to discriminate against women, even though your goal was to not discriminate against women. So we have to look beyond the intentions of laws to the effect of laws. So such a law would in effect eliminate women from getting that job, because the only other incentive the employer would have to hire a woman is if the wage he had to pay was lower, because he knows if he hires a woman, she comes with some inherent weaknesses that he will have to compensate for. And so, the same thing goes if you have a job that is of a greater propensity towards women than men. If the employer must pay the one price, then he will never hire men, because he would be at a disadvantage to hire men, because there's no price point differential. So he will only hire women. So we have to be careful when we hear these wonderful laws, to think them through carefully, to analyze them from cause to effect, not from emotion to emotion. Look at the cause. What will happen when you have such a policy? What incentives will it create? What disincentives will it create? What will be the real outcome as opposed to the desired outcome? And they can be very two different things. Look at Housing Trust, for example, NHD. The desired outcome was to help poor people get homes. But because the legislation is so weak and poor, and the structure is so weak and poor, and the government is so corrupt, what does the NHT does? It takes money from 100% of those who are within the PAYE system, and it only gives 25% of them a benefit, and it's skewed mostly towards those with the highest income, and for the most part discriminate against those with lower income, even though the trust was designed with the intention, and the stated political intention was for it to help the poorest in our society. Instead, it helps the richer in our society and discriminate against the poor in our society, but bears a name with a wonderful intention of helping the poor. In fact, the NHD does a great job of helping the government. The government is able to use the wonderful profits made by the NHD to offset the cost of its corruption. So as its corruption gets bigger and bigger, and the budget of the government gets weaker and weaker, it is able to go and raid the NHD to cover the deficits, to cover the incompetence, to cover the corruption costs of government. So I want us all to start thinking like this, so that we can demand good governance. We can understand good governance. And when you hear the UIC have policies that sounds a little weird compared to what you're used to, just pay attention and you'll see that we're fixing an inherent problem, which is a part of the design of bad governance. Okay, quick comments here. Good afternoon, Mr. Patterson. I want to donate 50 US monthly for a period of time, but I only do so by MoneyGram. Is that okay? Yes, Ms. Brown, you can do that. You can do by MoneyGram, and just contact us and let us know, and we'll assign someone to assist you with that. So just write in to us. You can write in on our website through the comment section, or via email, info@uicjamaica.com. Let me see here. What did I miss? Whole heap of comments. What more can I take? Let me see if I can take one here. Okay. So Olga said, Mr. Patterson, please let this man sign an agreement so people can't come back and say you have him working on your farm for free. I know, Olga, you are so right. They are going to come back and say this foolishness. To be honest with you, I thought about doing it, but I didn't have time because it was a quick thing to help him. So the time it would take for me to do the agreement, I haven't had the time for that. I had to get the material and stuff. So we'll see. Maybe this will be one more of the, what do you call it now? Somebody stabbing, biting the hand that feed it. Like recently, there's a gentleman, one of our candidates in the UIC. He recently had a bad situation, and he asked me if he could borrow some money. And I said to him, yes, you can get some money to borrow. And I asked him, how much can you pay back? He told me how much he can pay back. I asked him, when do you want to pay it back? He told me when he wants to pay it back. So three things. One, how much you want, how much you can pay back on it, and when you can pay it back. Three things. He told me all of the three things, and I said, go ahead. And I asked the office to just process the loan and give it to him. Would you believe that the fellow went on public platforms and speak about this in a bad light, that I did something wrong? Because he says, oh, the interest rate is too high. And now I never forced the man to take a loan, All I did was he came to me and I said, tell me how much you want, how much you can pay, and when you can pay it back. And I gave him everything he asked for, only to find now that it is an issue in the public sphere, and I'm a bad person for giving him a loan, the amount him want, the rate he wants it at, and the period in which he wants to pay it back. I gave him everything he asked for, and then the fellow comes and dishonor me in public. So I'm used to it. I'm getting used to it. My wife warned me about this when we started 10 years ago. She said, you don't want to do this. You don't want to put yourself into this and put our family into this stereotype. All the time I've spent on the UIC, can you imagine if I just spent all that time on my business? I'm not the dunsest person. I can really do quite well in business, and I've proven that over and over again. But I've spent the last 10 years divided between my profession, my business, and trying to build for Jamaica an alternative political party that would truly address the issue of bad governance and protect the sovereignty of our citizen and give us the Jamaica we want, safe, clean, orderly, and it has been very, very costly to me to do this. Very, very I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It's very costly, very painful, very ungrateful, I must tell you. It's a very unthankful job. But I do it anyways. And here this fellow went and publicly assisted in the attempt to malign my character. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. So let me see. I want to take some more questions before I have to run off, or comments. Oh, where is it now? Okay, here we go. Trying to find, there's so many. It says here, what do you think about those who are doing charity in their community, like Kino in Jamaica, Miss Donna? Silvercat, I think it's good. Charity is a good thing. I think it's good to do charity. I think, unfortunately, Jamaica has become very charity driven, meaning, we've developed a culture of begging and a culture of dependency and a culture of people wanting everything for free, which is very, very bad. So charity on the one hand is one thing, but a culture of dependency and freeness is really dangerous. Nuff says, good afternoon, I am late. Okay, I missed that, read that. It says, you will know and meet me soon, Mr. Lion Rule said. For now, I will continue to donate and help as much in the background. Well, thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. Kevin says, UIC for life. And Then the Daily Observer says, "One love, my UIC family." Thank you, Daily. Mr. Patterson, I still haven't received an email back about helping the UIC. I gave a ending date because we do a lot of charity work, so we can't stay on one thing. Silvercat, I'm so sorry. I don't even know what happened and where you sent it and what happened there. So might I ask that you please, you know, send them a WhatsApp message to this number, putting it on screen right now. Yep, the 471-6598. Send a message to that number right now, or as soon as you can, and let me know if you still don't get an answer to that, okay? Let me see, what else can I respond to here? One second. Okay, so this one says, there's a truck passing. Let it pass first. The truck passing here. Okay. Well, it's more than a truck. It's quite a tanker. So Eunice Brown Knight says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Patterson. I want to donate." Okay, I answer that. JJ says, "I think you can only work part-time job when 15 to 16 years old, and you won't get full payment until you are 18 years old." Okay. Genevieve Lewis said, "Mr. Patterson, I like everything you stand for. Just want every Jamaican to wake up. We're going down very fast. Believe it. UIC to the world." Yes, I agree with you. Genevieve, think about it, says Mr. Patterson. You need to start going out to campaign. If 500,000 voting Jamaicans don't know the UIC, you will not win. Okay, thank you very much and appreciate your support. The more you all help is the more we can go out. Okay. Think about it, says no, that's Eunice says, "This donation is for the UIC." Thank you, Eunice. Daily Observer says, "I recently learned that NHD is about to seize unclaimed refunds." Another theft there, right? Silvercat says, "What would be your plan on a recession?" What would be my plan on a recession? Oh boy, what would be my plan on a recession? My. Let's wait now. Let's wait and see what the government does, because they have a good way of borrowing all of my ideas without giving credit. But let's just say this: if we have a recession and the UIC was the government, that recession will be very short-lived based on our policies. Some Jamaicans have no idea how the other half survive. The poor class don't have sufficient funds to live. Tony, you're so right. It is abysmal. It is. The news, the media doesn't do much of a job of highlighting the extent of poverty in Jamaica. You see some people going even to bank, going to bank, to work, wearing their high heels and their stockings and their nice uniform, and their hair is well groomed, and they look really nice and okay. You would be appalled to see the condition under which such persons live. You would be appalled. When I see the Prime Minister and opposition leader, for example, showing off their beautiful Christmas picture of their family and their home, I wonder if they think about the people and the condition of the lives of the people of this country. The people that they have created, the conditions that they have created. And I say they because they're very much a part of the system that creates the kind of conditions we have in Jamaica. They're fully a part of it. They have, let me just adjust the thing here to get this out of my face. They have, okay, that's not working too well either. Let's just pull it all the way up, and that's too bright now, isn't it? But anyways, the 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 leaders of the two major political parties, not just the leaders, the leadership. So I see somebody was talking earlier on about joining forces with Lisa Hanna, for example, to join force with her in the UIC. That's highly unlikely. In fact, that's impossible. And I'll tell you why. Lisa Hanna, Damian Crawford, these are popular names, persons that you have heard about, that you have seen. And Lisa Hanna, for example, is very attractive. She speaks very well. And Jamaicans are moved by these things, especially because of how nice she looks, right? She looks really nice, and she sounds really intelligent. Um, Damon Crawford, not a bad-looking fella himself. He has a nice personality, quite, reasonable, a nice guy. Persons you would not have a problem, being friends with. Uh, Damon Crawford can reason like hell. I mean, his philosophy is a bit off because you see, Damien. Let me just fix this thing here. Light is killing me. Damien, too much light, too little light. Here we go. It's not working out too kindly at all. But Damien Crawford, very bright young man, no doubt about that. Very, very bright young man, smart young man. But he has a philosophical problem which he'd have to overcome to be a part of the UIC. He would have to appreciate the importance of protecting individual rights. I know he doesn't believe in that because his policies, his ideology is collective based, is collectivism, meaning the collective is more important than the individual. And Lisa Hanna is from that same school as well. In fact, once you are immersed in the system of they call it socialism, and I hate to use these terms because they're so loaded. They come with such baggage, but the idea that of the greater good, which allows a government to say they're willing to sacrifice some for the greater good. The UIC disagrees with that. We disagree with that fundamental principle. We believe in protecting every single individual. And that is fundamentally what separates us from the two other parties. We are committed to protecting the rights of every individual, even against the collective. So that's why we're not this pro-democracy movement. We don't believe in absolute democracy. We believe in absolute republicanism, meaning a republic, because in a republic, a true republic, not a fake one. Barbados is a fake republic. Guyana is a fake republic. Trinidad is a fake republic. The USA is a fake republic. China is a very, very big fake republic. Now, so the UIC only believes in the principle of republicanism, which means the purpose of government is to protect the life, the liberty, and the property rights of every citizen equally. That's number one. Number two, which is the same as number one, the purpose of government is to protect the sovereignty of every individual. It is the sovereignty of the individuals that makes up the sovereignty of the collective or the nation. If you don't defend individual sovereignty, it is a facade to claim that you're defending national sovereignty. There is no national sovereignty without the individuals who make up that nation. And so every individual in that nation is a sovereign entity, a sovereign creation, which has its own borders and boundaries, beyond which no one, no group, and no government may go. So in our system of governance, the UIC system of governance, government cannot violate your rights on any pretext. The government is always limited in how far it can go. While in the current system, and the ones that are even fast coming down the pipe, government is the owner of the people instead of the servant of the people. So the system which the UIC is fighting against is the system which makes you a dispensable part of a collective, where this monster called government becomes your master, your lord, your governor, your king, or your queen, your monarch, no matter what you call it, or dictator, or tyrant, or despot. The UIC is unreservedly opposed to anything, any government, any structure, any system which violates your individual right to choose what is best for you. The one limitation we put on you is a limitation which protects you. And that limitation is this: that you do not have the right as an individual or as part of a group or by voting for a government, you do not have the right to infringe on the life, liberty, or property rights of anyone else. What does that mean? It means in totality, all of us, all of us are protected from each of us. Put another way, each of us is protected from all of us. So nobody is allowed to murder you, that's taking your life by force, except, of course, that they were defending themselves from you. Well, once you are violating somebody's right, they have a right to defend themselves. But outside of that, outside of self-defense, nobody has a right to kill you, to steal your life, to murder you. Nobody has a right to use force to murder you, to use unprovoked force to murder you or kill you or take your life. Nobody. So your life is sacred, it's off bounds. That's your domain. Similarly, your freedom or your liberty, the right for you to choose what you're going to do with you, how you want to live, how you want to learn, how you want to earn. That's your choice. Again, provided you're not using that choice to infringe on the life, liberty, or property of others by force or fraud. And thirdly, your property is yours to have and to enjoy for as long as you shall live, and nobody has a right to infringe on that property. In fact, you can even set up rules as to how that property must be protected in your death. Like, how will the property be used after you're gone? Yeah, because it's your property. So the UIC, unlike any of the other two parties, is 100% committed to protecting your rights. It is out of these basic fundamental human principles that we can now write laws and regulations and set up institutions that will ensure that you have the best opportunities at succeeding and prospering in this country. For example, the police force will cease to exist, and you'll now have a police service, which will ensure that the police must respect you. Right now, police can have no respect for you, and it means nothing. They get away with it. In the new Jamaica, that the UIC will create, the police must do more than serve and protect, it must also respect the citizens. Treat every citizen with respect, and so on. But I've said enough. Let me now go back to the comments. Tough job, but someone has to do it, Mr. Patterson, said Lion Rule. Yes. They can't keep a good man down. That's why UIC will stay around, said Cool. I like that. Quite poetic. Silver Cat, what's your stand on the Maroon land? Very good question. My position is that we need to spend the time to legally determine where all of this sits. It's not a personal view or a personal position that should matter. It must be a matter of law, a matter of legality, a matter of history, a matter of the substance. And once we get to the substance of the matter and we have all the facts properly outlined and verified, then we must follow the facts. Not like what they say, follow the science. We must follow the facts and honor the facts. Now, of course, facts are also impacted by culture and history. And because of the passage of time and culture and history and all kind of changes that might have happened in the boundaries and the areas and so on, you'll need to have another segment, which is now having mutually beneficial negotiations. So we have to negotiate how to honor the facts. Yeah. So you reach compromises. So I don't believe in the hostile approach that the Prime Minister has taken. I believe in the approach of following the history, following the facts, and then let the facts speak for themselves. And beyond that, you now negotiate and reach a settlement that is mutually beneficial to all sides. JJ says, when the government receives money, does he beg, borrow, or sell out? When the government receives money, does he beg, borrow, or sell out? Forgive me, JJ, I don't understand the comment, so help me later to see if I can get it. Say it differently, okay? Many Jamaica universities graduates are now working in the field of expertise, but instead call centers. Right, JJ, that's so true. Many in Jamaica, it's very difficult to find meaningful work that is related to your schooling. Yeah. So that's very unfortunate. Okay. Think about it, says Mr. Patterson. Please reach out to Jamaican Carlos. I know things are sour between you two, but for my sake, I'm a young patriarch. I want my people to unite and listen to each other and build together. Think about it. I have not done anything. Jamaican Carlos has decided that he is going to do what he's doing, and he's doing it. So that's his choice. I mean, I can't change the choices that people make. He makes his choice, I made mine. So my choice was that I get calls from so many different people, and I get suggestions from so many different people. And he's one of the many persons who call me, and one of the many persons who send me suggestions. And I reserve the right to decide which of those calls I have the time to take, and which of those proposals I would like to implement. That's my choice. Now, Jamaican Carlos can make his choice, and he has made his choice. He has decided that he's going to seek to assassinate my character. Yeah. He's going to seek to bring me down. Yeah. He's going to build a narrative and a story that is based on falsehood and lies. Yeah. So these were his choice. So he has chosen to do that, and now persons have to decide, where do they want to place their support? Do they want to support somebody who does that, or do they want to support somebody who is working hard to actually give the Jamaican people another option, and who is working to educate Jamaicans to make the right choice, to move away from bad governance to good governance? Will they trust somebody who has put their life on the line, their family on the line, their business on the line, who has put themselves at the front of the line? Or will they trust somebody who has a platform that is based primarily on talking, and because they think that they now have influence over others, they're going to try to flex that muscle to see if they can force somebody into doing what they command. And when they command, they're going to seek to destroy them and destroy their character, assassinate their character. Now, to me, anybody who chooses to do that, I'd be very hard pressed to want to even listen to them ever again. So that's a choice people have to make. They have to choose, right? I'm not in a popularity contest. So I've not been online trying to win popularity and just seeking to build my ratings as a person. I'm about the serious business of building a new and better Jamaica. And I know that many persons are going to want to talk to me, many persons are going to want to make suggestions to me, and I cannot possibly take all the suggestions and I cannot possibly take all the calls. So my sincere apology to all of you who have been writing and calling and suggesting, and for whatever reason, I have not been able to take your call or follow up on your suggestion or in any way, respond to you in a timely manner, in the way that you would like. It's just not humanly possible. I'm not even a full-time politician, right? I work full-time like all the rest of you, and I magically try to balance my full-time earning life with the UIC. And the UIC keeps seeping over more and more, logically, and that's costly and difficult, but I continue to do it. And I'm hoping we get to the place soon where there's 1,000 of us donating 25 US dollars a month or more, so that we'll have enough funds so I can actually do this full time. Like, I need to spend more time on this. There's so much more I could do. But the truth is, I have to eat the food. Now, what some people do, they like politicians to fool them and let them feel like they're getting political services for free. And then when those politicians are elected, they steal from you and make your life worse than before. So I would suggest that as Jamaicans, we start to say, we need to own the UIC, fund the UIC, and elect the UIC so that they can truly represent us and put in place the things that I've been talking about. So I'm working on that. And with your help, we'll get it done. Now, I see Tony saying, thanks, sir. I am English, but I support you 100%. That's why last year, September, we drove from Westmoreland to Kingston to march for our human rights, because we think you will make a good government. Thank you, Tony Valentine. I didn't know that you were there. Wonderful. Appreciate that, man. Love that. That's good. And love what you're saying, eh? Silver Cat, Mr. Patterson, I think you need to talk about more citizens opening a bank account. It is needed. The way how banking in Jamaica is not easy. Yes, the UIC has a plan to actually make banking, it's called free banking, where you have a right to a bank account. It's not something you go and fight and beg for. You have a right to it, and you must have it. Nobody can stop you from having a bank account. The UIC will do that when we're elected. Think About It says, I will vote UIC full stop, but I don't want big grievance in the movement. Please reach out to persons who need you and you, or UIC well. Think about it. Let me be very clear. Eh? Let me try to explain this here. Once you have a new movement that is not a part of the establishment trying to build, you're always going to have detractors. You're always going to have persons who are going to do anything in their power to undermine the movement. There's absolutely nothing that I can do to, for example, much of what you have heard so far, like almost all of it, are lies. Now, I can't stop people from lying. I can't stop people from being evil. I cannot stop people from being devilish. I can't stop people from deciding that they're going to spread innuendos, they're going to drop words, they're going to, of course I could take out lawsuits, I could run after them with lawsuits for character defamation, and take up a huge portion of my time and money going after them for that. And I might very well have to do that for some. But that's just the nature of politics. So I need you to be strong. I need all of us to be firm, right? Be strong and firm and dismiss those naysayers. Tell them to go away. Tell them to do more than talk. Show us the substance of what they're doing to rescue Jamaica. Anybody can get up and turn on a live every day if they wish, if they have the time and energy. Turn on a live every day and go on the live and say, what's in the news today? I hate that, I hate this, and this should be different and that should be different. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that if they have the time. But not everybody is going to do what I have done. I have taken the time to do the full work of creating a new political party in an environment which is harsh and crushing and difficult, and I'm doing it in a way that is grassroots oriented. So we don't have any big sponsor. There's not one big sponsor. We never even tried to get any. There's not one big sponsor, because we know what big sponsor mean. Big sponsor mean we can't pursue the policies that we need to change the nation. So we have decided to go the hard, impossible route, which is to galvanize the ordinary people to become the owners of the party. Now we're succeeding. I have paid the price. I have suffered the indignation. And others have joined me and we have worked together and we're succeeding. Now, because we're succeeding, that's when the crab in a barrel mentality kicks in. When there was nothing, it was easier. People just come and go, come and go, come and go. They come, they get excited, they realize it's hard work, then they leave. Now some come and they realize, oh, it can work. Let's take it over now. So that's the other one, right? Some come. It's been a revolving door in the UIC for years. People come, go, come, go, come, go, come, go, because it's hard work. And most people say, boy, this is too much, and I have to go focus on making some money to take care of my family. I have my kids to go to school, I want to build my house, I have my business. We don't have the time for UIC stuff. We can't spend so much time on this. Now, I spent that time. My wife spent that time. And when people come and go, come and go, come and go, we stood firm. From the beginning, straight through. There have been so many persons who have been here. So many. Some of you are online right now. Like my good friend Craig, who was treasurer, or my good friend Janice, who was the first general secretary, or my good friend Mark, who was one of the first vice president, or my good friend, what's his name again? My goodness, it just slipped me. Malcolm, Leroy Malcolm, a former vice president as well, or, Chairman Humphrey, or the longest serving director, Janet Trikanowski. She has been around for a while now. She's been there with us, but many people have come and gone. And I stood firm. When people got up and walk away like, we need to file our annual returns, and they just get up and walk away and leave it on me, and we have to stay up at night and figure out everything and go file it. Audit is to be done. They just walk away and we have to go get the audit done and file it. We're going for Walk for Liberty, and some people simply show up. I couldn't just show up. Me and my wife have to go buy the wood stick, buy the board, bristle board, get the printer to print it on like the tracker thing. So I want it to look nice and good, and so we sit down and get it all on properly, glue it on properly, staple it on properly, pack up the car with the water and all of the stuff, them and drive it down and whatever. You understand? So we delivered. We get the work done. We're not just on Facebook talking. People say, oh, you're just on Facebook. No, we get the work done. Have to run up and down all over the place to get stuff done. Where were they when I'm going door to door to door to door to door to door to get the 1,300 persons to agree to the formation of the UIC? Where were they? Each of those 1,000 persons simply provided their signature, their name, their voter ID number, their address, and said, yes, Mr. Patterson, I am with you. But then we had to go under the rest. Back then, my entire NEC, the National Executive Council back then, listen carefully, the National Executive Council back then in 2018, when we were doing the hard work to meet the new tough regulations that the government brought in, back then, of the entire executive, the entire national executive, okay, back then, it's me, my wife, and one vice president, a gentleman named Naima, a very hard-working gentleman. Me, my wife, and Naima, and his wife occasionally joined us. And it's the four of us, night after night after night after night, driving around all across Jamaica, getting signatures, getting people to approve this. Where was Jamaican Carlos and people like him who want to take over this movement and say Joe must go? Where were they? Sleeping, enjoying a good life, eating a good meal. And nothing is wrong, that's their choice. I'm not saying, they needed to do what I did. But now, don't behave as though you truly understand, and don't diminish the work that people have done. Don't dismiss people for the work that they have done. That is rude and out of order. But anyways, let me get back to the questions and comments here now. So democracy is robbing from the poor and give to the rich, says Lion Rule. Mr. Info says, when crime and murder rate go down in Jamaica, many more Jamaicans abroad will invest more money. An island of about 3 million people should not have the second highest murder rate in the region. Absolutely, Mr. Info. You cannot drive up investment if you don't drive up safety. And as long as you have an unsafe society, you will have less than optimal investment, less than optimal productivity, and less than optimal prosperity. And that's what we have. We have a failed system of governance, we have a failed government, and we're suffering because of that. So, Marcus the Best says, service delivery is at the root of our problem. Let's get that right. To hell with ideology. Marcus, no. Ideology drives service delivery. Okay, for example, if you have a communist government where there's no incentive to work, then you have to force people to work, and you have to do really bad things to get results. So ideology drives service delivery. For example, when you have a government hospital and people walk in and the nurses are understaffed, underpaid, and don't have the supplies that they need, and they're tired and angry and hungry, and you go in there, you're going to get bad service. But if you had a different system where it was a very profitable healthcare service provider, and they have to compete for customers, then they're going to treat their customers very differently, because that's the only way they're going to keep them. So let's be real, let's be very realistic. Ideology is critical, and the ideology of protecting individual liberty is the foundation of real prosperity. Misha says, vote UIC family. And Marcus says, poor service delivery. Oh, I said already. Then we have to overcome the stranglehold that the swampist establishment has over the society requires grassroots campaigning. Yes, man, for sure. The constabulary service. Okay, so I can't read that. Garvey was onto something. Absolutely, Marcus. Remove them off the land before they turn into an Islamic state. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have to go now. I actually went way over my time, and I have a meeting coming up. But sorry I couldn't get to all the questions. Thanks to all of you for being on today. Really appreciate it. And I hope you learned something about Labor Day. And I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day holiday tomorrow when it comes. I know there's a holiday in Canada tomorrow, and here in Jamaica is holiday as well. So have a peaceful holiday, have a productive holiday, if you can say that. And just remember that the Labor Day is about protecting our rights as workers. Don't forget that. And it was also to be a time to take a day off from labor. All right? It is not about you giving free labor to the government. Let the government does its work. Demand that the government does its work. And then you, of course, you and I, make sure we do our work, play our part, and so on. God bless you. Have a good afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. One Jamaica, stronger together. Change you can trust. The United Independence Congress.